Devon Carter tasted blood again. The metallic tang had become familiar over the past 3 weeks, almost routine. Another fist slammed into his ribs, the same ones that had cracked on day 5 and never properly healed. That was the rule he'd made for himself. Fall, and they win. Vask circled him slowly, his scaled hide gleaming under the training yard's harsh lights. The Krynn stood nearly 8 feet tall, muscle coiled beneath armor-plated skin that evolution had spent millennia perfecting. Behind him, 4 more cadets watched with predatory patience. The instructors watched too, from their elevated platform, arms crossed. They always watched. They never intervened. Still standing, human? Vask's translator rendered his growl into mocking English. Your kind breaks so easily. Why do they keep sending you? Devon spat blood onto the metal floor. Why do you keep needing 4 friends to face one of me? The blow came fast. Devon's vision whited out as his head snapped sideways. He stumbled but didn't fall. Couldn't fall. 11 humans had come to Station Krev, 9 before him. All 11 had been sent home broken, their military careers finished before they'd begun. The Krynn called it integration training. Command called it building interspecies cooperation. Devon called it what it was, sanctioned brutality. Enough. Instructor Thrall's voice boomed across the yard. Formation drills. Move. Vask shoved Devon hard as he passed. Tomorrow, human, tomorrow you quit. Devon limped toward the barracks, each breath a knife in his side. 3 months. He just needed to survive 3 months, and he'd earn his posting. 3 months of this hell, and humanity would have its first graduate from the Krynn Military Academy. He'd already made it through 3 weeks. He could endure the rest. The barracks offered no sanctuary. His bunk was in the corner, isolated from the Krynn sleeping pods. He collapsed onto it, staring at the ceiling. Sleep wouldn't come easy. It never did. Every sound made him flinch, expecting another ambush, another lesson in what the Krynn considered strength. His datapad buzzed. A message from command, probably another sterile inquiry about his progress. He ignored it. What could he tell them? That their alliance with the Krynn was built on watching humans get destroyed? That the instructors smiled when Vask broke another rib? Morning came too soon. Devon forced himself upright, binding his ribs with medical tape he'd stolen from the infirmary. The first formation drill started in 20 minutes. He'd learned to move through the pain, to function despite his body screaming for rest. The training yard filled quickly. 200 cadets, all Krynn except for him. Vask and his pack positioned themselves nearby, already grinning. Devon took his place in formation and waited for whatever fresh torment the day would bring. Instructor Thrall appeared on the platform. But he wasn't alone. 3 figures stood with him, and one of them was human. The yard went silent. Devon's heart stuttered. He knew that face. Everyone in the human military knew that face. Captain Maria Cross, the breaker of Sirius 9, the woman who'd held a defensive line against 4,000 hostiles with just 60 soldiers. She wore her dress uniform, metals gleaming, but it was her eyes that commanded attention. Cold, calculating. Absolutely devoid of mercy. Inspection, Thrall announced, his translator struggling to hide his nervousness. Captain Cross will observe today's training protocols. Maria descended the platform stairs with measured steps. She didn't speak. Didn't need to. Her gaze swept across the formation like a targeting laser, cataloging everything. When those eyes reached Devon, they paused. She saw the bruises, the way he favored his left side, the fresh split in his lip. Her expression didn't change. She simply continued walking. Begin combat trials, Thrall ordered. The trials were Vask's favorite. Cadets paired off for sparring matches while instructors evaluated technique. Devon had no regular partner. He'd be assigned to whoever wanted to humiliate a human today. Carter, Thrall called, with Vask. Of course. Devon stepped forward and Vask's pack laughed. This would be quick and brutal. Entertainment for the visiting dignitary. They faced each other in the sparring circle. Vask cracked his knuckles, plates of natural armor shifting audibly. Devon raised his hands, knowing it was futile but refusing to show fear. The bell rang. Vask didn't spar. He attacked with full force, a hammering blow that sent Devon sprawling. Before he could rise, a kick crashed into his stomach. Air exploded from his lungs. Another kick. Another. The instructors watched. Maria watched. Devon tried to cover his head. Vask grabbed his arm and twisted. Something popped in his shoulder. Devon screamed, "Stop!" The word wasn't shouted. It was spoken quietly, almost conversationally, but the entire yard froze. Maria stood at the circle's edge, hands clasped behind her back. Her eyes were locked on Vask. "This is integration training," Thrall said quickly. "Krynn methods build resilience through." "I asked him to stop," Maria interrupted, still staring at Vask. "Not you." Vask released Devon's arm. "The human is weak. We show him strength." "I see." Maria stepped into the circle. "Tell me, cadet, how many humans have you fought in actual combat?" "None. Humans avoid real war." "Interesting theory." Maria removed her uniform jacket, folding it precisely before setting it aside. Beneath, she wore a simple combat shirt. No armor, no weapons. "Let's test it." The yard erupted in murmurs. Thrall stepped forward. "Captain, this is irregular. You allow cadets to assault recruits without restraint," Maria said. "Surely you allow officers to participate in training exercises." Thrall's jaw worked silently. He nodded. Maria faced Vask. "Standard combat. First to yield or lose consciousness." Vask grinned, showing rows of serrated teeth. "You'll regret this, human." "I doubt that." The bell rang. Vask charged like a battering ram. Maria sidestepped with minimal movement, and her elbow cracked into his jaw as he passed. The Krynn stumbled. Impossible. His armored hide should have absorbed the blow. He roared and swung a massive fist. Maria ducked under it, drove her knee into his exposed kidney, and followed with a palm strike to his throat. Vask gagged, instinctively lowering his guard. Maria's next strike was surgical, a finger strike to the nerve cluster beneath his left arm. Vask's entire arm went limp. 12 seconds had elapsed. Vask backed away, fear replacing arrogance. He tried a desperate tackle. Maria caught his momentum, used it against him, and threw him over her hip. 8 feet of armored Krynn warriors slammed into the metal floor hard enough to dent it. Before he could move, Maria's boot was on his throat, applying just enough pressure to make breathing difficult. "Yield," she said. Vask's good hand slapped the floor twice. Maria stepped back. Who else? Vask's pack exchanged glances. Slowly, all 4 entered the circle. "Better," Maria said. They came at her together, coordinated and vicious. It didn't matter. Maria moved like violence given form, every motion efficient and devastating. She broke one Krynn's knee with a low kick, shattered another's nose with a headbutt, and dropped the third with a chokehold that left him gasping on the floor. The 4th managed to land a punch. Maria absorbed it, trapped his arm, and dislocated his shoulder with a twist that made the entire yard wince. 30 seconds. 5 Krynn warriors. Neutralized. Maria surveyed the fallen cadets, then turned to Thrall. "This is your training? Allowing the strong to torture the weak until they break? It is tradition. It's cowardice." Maria's voice remained level, but it cut like a blade. "You hide behind tradition because you're too lazy to actually train soldiers. You let bullies reign because it's easier than teaching discipline." Thrall's face darkened. "You don't understand Krynn culture. I understand failure." Maria gestured to Devon, still on his knees, cradling his shoulder. "That human has more courage than anyone here. He survived 3 weeks of your abuse and kept standing. Your cadets gang up 5-on-1 and still lose. Who's actually weak?" Silence. Maria pulled out her datapad. "As of now, this facility is under review. I'm recommending immediate leadership replacement and complete restructuring of training protocols. Humanity's alliance with the Krynn is valuable, but we don't partner with institutions that mistake cruelty for strength." She walked to Devon, extending her hand. He took it with his good arm, and she pulled him to his feet. "Can you walk, soldier?" "Yes, ma'am. Medical bay. That shoulder needs setting." As Maria escorted Devon away, she paused and looked back at Vask, still lying on the floor. "When you're healed, cat, eh? Report to the new training program. You'll learn what actual strength looks like. It's not found in numbers or size. It's found in the will to stand alone against impossible odds and refuse to break. She turned to the entire formation. That's what humanity brings to this alliance. Not weakness, not fear, but the understanding that true warriors protect those who can't protect themselves. They don't prey on them. The yard remained silent as Maria and Devon disappeared into the station. 3 days later, new instructors arrived. The training program was overhauled completely. Vask and his pack found themselves in remedial courses, learning discipline under human sergeants who showed them what earned respect actually meant. Devon's shoulder healed, and he returned to training, this time as an example, not a victim. Station Krevlev 9 became known throughout the galaxy as the facility where humanity taught the Krynn a lesson they'd never forget. Not with speeches or diplomacy, but with one captain who walked into a yard of bullies and ended their reign with nothing more than skill, precision, and a look that promised consequences for cruelty. Devon Carter graduated top of his class 3 months later. At the ceremony, Vask approached him and extended a hand. Devon took it. The Krynn's grip was firm but respectful. "You never broke," Vask said quietly. "Neither did you," Devon replied. "You just learned there's more to strength than fists." Somewhere in the crowd, Captain Maria Cross watched and allowed herself the smallest smile. The galaxy was learning what humanity had always known. Bullies don't stop because you ask nicely. They stop when someone shows them, unmistakably, that their reign is over. And humans were very good at ending things.